Hey fellow humans, this is going to be one of the smaller and dumber videos where I don't really share any intelligent thoughts or opinions or anything, but I just show and tell, and the reason is I feel like DIY could be the kind of content that would actually maybe give people something more than just information on my miserable life. So I'm not saying that I'm super inspiring and super crafty, but it's some of the things that just make my life a little bit better. Knitting and sewing and beadwork, basically drawing and painting and all of that, and I haven't had the energy or time lately to do that stuff, but I also haven't had enough money to go and get pretty things, and ironically this is the time where I crave new pretty things the most, because I've worn all of my clothes for a long time, and I always wanted to be a minimalist and only have a few staple items, but at the same time I just let things come and go, and that means that sometimes I just want something new, and it's frustrating right now not to be able to get anything new. I'm super happy about the shirt corset thing that I bought, and I do have a video on that. It's in the Czech language, but maybe I might, if anybody cares, I might add some subtitles, but so just to make it a bit more positive, I just want to give myself some positivity by flexing all the things that I have done by my own hands, and to remind myself that I still have a lot of things to appreciate. And in order to make it more psychologically effective, I'm also flexing in front of my 89 subs, so that's that. I have shown off some things, but it was mostly on my fan page on Facebook, and I may have shown some tutorials on my YouTube channel. Those are quite good. They are not pro quality tutorials, but they are videos where I show how I make things, and these also apply to the rest of the stuff that I've made, but maybe this can also work as an inspiration for somebody who feels like they would craft something, but they're not sure. They may get some inspo from my stuff. I don't really think I am super creative and super inventive, but I have made some stuff that I'm proud of, that I am a bit bored of just because I've had them for a long time, but that doesn't make them any worse. So, for example, this is what my knitting looks like. Once you've learned to knit, you can simply make some gloves like this. I'm not super experienced, but these are really easy to make. You just need some circle needles, and then you go in a spiral. You can change up the colors, or you can just get a yarn that looks like this. It'll change all the colors for you, so you don't even have to bother cutting anything. So I have a pair of these gloves. I don't know where the other one is, but that's just me. But it is somewhere. It does exist. The colors are a bit different on it, but The pair looks good, the two gloves together. I have spoken about gloves because I have a tutorial on... What's wrong with my hair? Look at this. I have a tutorial on basically Frankensteining old gloves that I found in my mother's apartment. And before I did that, I also made this. And I have a video of this too, if I remember correctly. So yeah, this is I don't even know whether to call it a glove or more like a wrist cuff or something. And I'll finally get to wear it now that the weather's warmer, because I can't fit any gloves underneath it, so it has to be warm enough for me to just have bare hands and bare wrists. And it zips up, and then I do the buckles, and it looks pretty. And I'm not going to do it right here, right now on camera, but I swear I love this thing. Maybe I should have put some fabric on the inside, because if I get sweaty, this starts to feel a bit uncomfortable. So I may change this up later and fix this problem. But otherwise, I love this thing. It's basically the hand equivalent of the pikes that didn't last very long for the price. So that's my DIY piece number 2. This is not numbered chronologically, I'm just picking stuff up, okay? This is a thrifted top that I have decorated with a Bauhaus logo. Super simple. You just need a stencil. I also have a tutorial on this, though not with this particular piece, but with the cat skull bag that I'm also going to show you, although you've seen it. But just for inspo, it doesn't have to be super complex. You don't have to layer stuff up. You can just grab something black and white and make a stencil and then cut out the letters, sew them on, and it works fine. This top is good for the summer or even for colder seasons if you have a high-waisted skirt or high-waisted pants, which I don't have, but don't mind that. It looks good with my long high-waisted skirt. Now, I don't really support the idea of buying fake merch, but I do support the idea of making fake merch. If you can't just get merch somewhere, or if you can't afford it, then like you have no other choice, I guess, and you still want to present yourself as somebody who supports this or that particular music project. I think it's good, and it's much better to DIY it than to buy it from some sweatshop. Or in the case of Ghost, why bother buying it? They have a shitload of money. They're selling everything. You name it. You can name any household item, any accessory, they have it. So in this case, it's easy to get merch, but I don't really mind making my own. So yeah, I have attempted to make the logo by making little knots on strings in a technique that you call friendship bracelets. Most people make actual friendship bracelets, but I've stepped it up. I also use this technique to make patches that I sew onto stuff. I have done another one, but I don't have that anymore. And these trousers are a bigger project that I haven't moved for a long time, but also this here says nothing a pair of scissors can't fix. It's from a Nick Cave song. I've given it a whole new context, because fabric is also nothing a pair of scissors can't fix. And what I used to do with my trousers was that I would shorten them into shorts, and especially if I had a hole on my ass, then it's a logical way to keep it socially acceptable. You know the holes you get when your ass is growing and then you get a tear right here, so you just cut it and you have a pair of shorts. I hope I'm not getting any fatter, but I don't even have the money to become any fatter. And these are good, so I'll keep them long, but they still do need some scissor fixing in order to make them fit my style more. Some more fake merch and insect spin. Yeah. This shirt still exists. It's still doing fine. The material has lived a long, long life of partying. Which does not mean that I have lived a long life of partying, but in clothing terms. And considering the fact that I got this shirt when I was about 14, and I'm still wearing it. Although I cropped it and changed this whole front side, I think. This is a long-lived shirt. Basically, all of these band t-shirts that I made used to be something else and way less interesting. And I was bored and I decided to get something more interesting, so I just grabbed what I had. And all of those white pieces of fabric are also just what I had. So you can make pretty stuff, and you don't really need to be very experienced. If you see what you're doing, if you can imagine what you're gonna do, if you plan it well, you use a pencil, you measure it out, then it should turn out fine. This one I am very proud of. This used to have some of these blue and pink colors on them in a whole different setting, because they're textile colors that originally were right here. They were styled as a simple Courtney Love portrait, and it had the lettering, "I'm Miss World, somebody kill me." I have some photos where I'm wearing it and I am sitting on a windowsill and I look super deep and like I'm contemplating something very important and also melancholy to the max. And then I decided that I really wanted to make a Virgin Prunes shirt. So I spent several days making the stencils, and all of these portraits are made up of 4 or 5 layers of fabric and threads, because I made the big black patch and then I added the big white patch and then I put some tiny black patches on it, and then I, instead of drawing, which I would do on a paper, I did that by embroidery, so I stitched all of it on and it looks really good. It's also a crop top, so on me it looks better with something that has a high waist. I'm not really always going for the feminine figure like that. I mean, it's nice when the hips show and everything, but in my case, it's more motivated by the fact that I don't know, I hate the tiny, unimportant, totally healthy lump of fat. So that's why I do wear crop tops, but not always just with shorts, but sometimes I do. And any day that I decide I'm not gonna give a fuck about how it looks is a good day if I'm in the mood. So that's my life advice, because I'm totally old and wise enough to give advice. Ta-da, the more you know. These are my newest gloves. You've seen my video. Yada yada, they're great. They're still holding up great. They're still super comfortable, actually. The stretchy parts are still stretchy. Still haven't broken down. I am very satisfied with this result. And it wasn't even that hard, so if you're interested, go check that video out. I'm not sure if I'll remember to put a link down there, but my channel's not that big. You can find it very easily. So then I got my pencil case. That was very easy. I just grabbed 2 pieces of fabric, one on the inside, one on the outside. Cut it, sew it up together. Then I decorated it with this skull fabric. I used to have a dress made of this skull fabric, and then it miraculously became too small and uncomfortable. Yeah, it happens. Then I've got my bag. Nowadays I'm using it twice a week because I travel to school and then back, and I need to carry all my food and all my unwashed or washed clothing. So that's really good. I have made a video of this, haven't I? I am satisfied with the result. All life starts with death. All death starts with life. Those are Skinny Puppy lyrics. It's funny, because in the picture there's a kitty. But it's perfect. And the stencil was made based on my actual cat skull that I have there, in that direction, behind the camera, and a little bit to the left. That's a pretty one. My cat still hasn't seen it. I think she wouldn't be too happy to see it. But I swear it was ethically sourced. And my biggest project so far. Ta-da! This used to look completely different when I was 12 to 14 and in my punk phase. And then I decided to stop wearing it because it wasn't my style anymore. So I hid it in a drawer, and then when I was about 19, I thought, well, but I could reconstruct it. And that's what I did. And so it's still with me now as a goth, which I've already been longer than I was punk, but I'm still a bit punk, but not as a subculture, because I don't really listen to it anymore, but some of the stuff is still great, like the restarts, NoFX. Yeah. But the aesthetic and the music is somewhere else these days with me. So it's still me, but different, I guess. Exactly like this. No, it's fine. It felt for a while that there was something wrong with this button, but so. This is Anna Varnikantorea. I love Saparita so much. And I used all sorts of old black fabrics, and this is a spider. I just chucked it on. So why not? And I changed the color of the buttons with dark red nail polish. It's got some pyramids on it. This is a flower pentagram, and the chain is from an old pendulum that I had that just broke for some reason. Another pentagram, some more. Yeah, this is a reference to the punk band Pertti Kurikan nimipäivät, which is super cool because there's this guy who likes to pretend that jackets and waistcoats are like snakes and venomous snakes, and he goes like, I think it's really cute, and he says tämä liivi on erittäin myrkyllinen. Like this vest is especially venomous, and I thought that was really cool, so I put it on mine as well. These are my own lines. You cut yourself on the mirror, and you turn dumb for 100 years. This is from my poem. BYOG, be your own god. And some astronauts hanging off the rings of Saturn. This used to be the front of an old t-shirt I had, but I became really sensorily frustrated with the material. Although I loved how it looked, I just couldn't handle wearing it anymore, and it was also becoming a bit old. You can see the little lumps on it. Yeah, so I used this, and I have this complete masterpiece that I like. So I'm here to do a recap of all of these awesome things that I've made. I'm not trying to brag, okay? I'm just, yeah, this is a weird flex, but it's completely okay. I'm here to recap all of it and get myself into the positive mindset of the fact that I have a lot of beautiful things to wear, and it's fine to want something new, and it's fine to buy something new as long as it's not too often, which it's definitely not. But it's not so bad, really. I hate it when people say, oh, half of the world has it so much worse, so why are you crying about your situation? No, I can't cry about my situation. My problems are valid. And that's not the reason why I'm trying to make myself grateful for what I have. I am very grateful. And it still doesn't make my problems irrelevant, but it feels good to get some positivity into my head. I still don't really feel like living in this world. I still don't really feel like being a functional adult because it's so hard, but I do have all of these pretty things. I have decided to at least try to make this mindset for me. Because I also hate it when you tell this to a person with depression. When you go like, okay, but focus on the bright side. It's fine. You've got enough money. You've got food, you've got water, you've got heaters in your room. Everything works, you've got electricity. Focus on the bright side. I hate that. But if they themselves decide to focus on the bright side, then it is because they are capable of focusing on the bright side, at least in the slightest bit. So that's what I'm trying to do. If I ever complain to you about my mental health, please do not tell me to focus on the bright side. This is my own decision to try to focus on the bright side. And right now it has worked, at least with the material side of things. And I hope I've inspired some creative souls to make something nice. I'm sure I will not make anything nice for a long time, because I still don't feel like it, but it feels good. It has inspired me, even just a little bit, but still, to put together some nice outfits. Although, like, there's probably no combination of these clothes that I have not worn, because I've had the same clothes for a long, long time. And I'm not trying to break down all that I've built with this DIY ego trip. Just stating the facts. Yeah, so that's today's video. Bye.